Good Sunday night going into Monday morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Battlin Bucs Show. I'm Mason Spesky, your host. We are going to recap this past week of Pirates baseball. If you already can't believe it, this is our 4th episode of the season. We already have 4 weeks down of baseball. Pirates have played 29 games, so we're nearing the 30-game mark, and things are not looking the best right now. Was hoping for a much better start. However, we have not got that yet. It's not looking pretty. I mean, you think spring is typically the strong point of the year for the Pirates, and they have not had a very strong spring this year at all. And if you look right now where they are, it's not pretty compared to some other teams, but it seems like, too, the fight we saw earlier this year, like how they came back against Miami, and that fight translated over from last year, obviously, coming back from down 9-0 in Cincinnati. This team looked to be special early on with their fight. However, that level of fight is slowly and steadily going away, it feels like, and that's not good at all. However, all hope is not lost. Because, you look at last year, we're going back, there were teams that were not very good at this point last year, like Houston. They were 15-13 last year. They still won the division and made an impact. The Phillies were 15-14. They went far. Reds, they were 12-16, and they made a run. So you can say that all hope's not lost yet. However, it's not looking good for the Pirates. Right now, we are 14-15 following a loss today in San Francisco. This kind of BS cannot happen, and that's all I'll say. Moving forward now, let's begin to recap the week. Monday night, the team responded well after losing 6 straight, beating the Brewers 4-2. This was a huge win for sure. Was glad to see Bednar bounce back, and yeah, this was a good win, that's for sure. I just got to watch the end of it, which was good, but the team played well the whole game. On Tuesday, the team won 2-1 over Milwaukee. Again, another close victory, but still found a way to get the job done. And that's what matters at the end of the day. We still got the job done, and yeah, that's good. Moving down the line here, we got the Pirates suffered their first loss against the Brewers of the season on Wednesday night, losing 3-2. All the runs were scored in the 3rd inning. Milwaukee jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Then we made it close, 3-2, and that's how it stayed the rest of the game. We had opportunities throughout the game, like later in the game. However, we failed at that point, and that's disappointing, that's for sure. And yeah, I don't know where to go and say about that. Thursday, this one was disappointing for sure. I think it was Chapman that was in, and we were up 5-4, blew it, and allowed a home run to Gary Sanchez. That gave the Brewers a 6-5 lead, and then the Brewers got another hit in the 9th, and they, not a home run, just a single up the middle that scored an RBI. They made it 7-5, and that's how the game ended. It was back and forth the whole way throughout. Brewers led 1-0, then we led 3-1. Joey Bart hit a home run. Man, he's been playing really well. He's been doing really well, and super impressed to see his performance. So, yeah, definitely on the upswing for sure. That's good, and hopefully it stays that way. But cannot continue to allow this. You can't blame the offense for this one. That was on pitching, and yeah, the bullpen's supposed to be the strength of this team. If it's going to be the strength of this team, it cannot be allowing 3-run home runs to a pinch hitter. So that cannot be happening. Pirates began a West Coast road trip Friday night and to San Francisco, where they spent the weekend. And this series gave us some interesting games for sure. Starting on Friday night, it was tied 0-0. I was watching the draft. A lot, as you could probably tell from earlier videos. I hope you watched those, but I was watching the draft, and then I turned on the Pirates in like the 8th inning, tied 0-0, and stayed a pitcher's duel till the bottom of the 9th when David Bednar allowed a 3-run home run, and the Giants won the game 3-0. You cannot blame the pitching or even Bednar on this loss. Not their fault at all. Hitting, we should score more than 0 runs in a game. You're not going to win games scoring 0 runs. So, even if we had like a 2-0 lead, the outcome may have been different, and Bednar may have not have allowed that home run. So, yeah, you know, you got to score runs throughout the game. That's all I'm going to say about this one. Last night, though, I watched a little more of it. It was an interesting game, that's for sure. It was tied 1-1 going into the 10th inning. And then Brian Reynolds and Brian Hayes both, well, first off, we were down 1-0. Then we tied the game at 1-1. Then the game ultimately went to extra innings, where Brian Reynolds hit a home run, giving us a 3-1 lead with the ghost runner on. Then Brian Hayes hit a home run, giving us a 4-1 lead. Next inning, David Bednar gets the chance, and the Giants hit a home run again. Looks like trouble. We're only up 4-3 now. However, Bednar holds down the fort, and we still hang on to win the game, and that was good. Put our record at 14-14. Well, today our record went to below 500 yet again. We lost 3-2 to the Giants. I didn't watch the game today, nor did I watch highlights yet. Sorry, I'll probably get to do that right before bed. So, again, I saw that we came back and gave it a run for the money late, but you can't be relying on constant comebacks in this league. You just can't be. So, that's what I'm going to say about that. Just don't do that. So, the Pirates now sit at 14-15. That is 4th place in the NL Central, so not very good considering how the NL is right now. Let's take a look at the standings, shall we? First with the AL East, the New York Yankees are 19-10 in first place. Baltimore Orioles 1 game back, 17-10. Red Sox 3 games back, 16-13. Blue Jays 5 games back, 14-15. And Rays 13-16, 6 games back. Sorry about that. Central Division, we got the Guardians leading that division at 19-9. Again, it's a low market baseball club with a good farm system that's winning games. So why can't we do that? Again, why can't we do that? Got to give Mike Chernoff, Stephen Vogt, rookie manager credit for what they've done, and they're off to a strong start for sure. And I hope they do well. I really do. Kansas City Royals, they're sitting at 17-12. Not good, but not bad. Good by their standards, so they're looking good for sure. Their acquisitions they made this offseason are looking good. Pirates, I'm talking about what you should have done, and you did. So, and look where Kansas City is now, so that's good for them. Detroit is on the upswing, sitting in 3rd place at 16-12. Minnesota is in 4th place at 14-13. And the White Sox are in last at 6-22. The AL Central is the worst division in baseball. Yeah, that's very accurate. 4 out of 5 teams are above 500, so yeah. And in the loaded AL East, 2 teams are below 500. In the Central, only 1 is, and it just so happens to be the atrocious Chicago White Sox. Although they did sweep the Rays this weekend, so credit to them. West Division now, we got the Mariners leading that division at 15-13. The Rangers, 15-14, are in 2nd place, a half game back. Surprisingly, in 3rd place are the 12-17 Oakland Athletics, 3.5 games back. The Angels are in 4th at 10-18, 5 games back. And the Astros are in 5th at 9-19, 6 games back. Astros have a lot of work to do, but I still think they'll do it. I think they'll come back. I do. NL East now. Onto the NL side. We got the Braves leading that division at 19-7. They are a powerhouse, and they just keep on rolling. So Braves 19-7 looking good. 2nd place, a game and a half back at 19-10 are the Philadelphia Phillies. Another squad that just can't do any wrong. It seems like really good baseball team. They're starting out strong, and that division's going to be a dogfight between those two, and I hope to see them again in the playoffs. So I really think this could be Philly's year to win the World Series. I just do. I predicted it at the beginning of the year, and I could very well see it happening. 3rd place, we got the New York Mets at 14-13. I thought they were going to be a factor this year. They're off to a nice start, that's for sure, and hopefully the good things keep coming for the New York team. Fourth place, you got the Washington Nationals, 13-14. Better than most people expected. I expected them to be right around here. I had the Nationals with a better record than most. They shocked me last year, and I think they're headed in the right direction, that's for sure. So 13-14 is not real surprising to me. A team I'm pulling for this year are the Nationals. And then last place, the 6-23 Miami Marlins. Central Division now, we got the Milwaukee Brewers at 17-10 leading our division, and they are looking good. Even after Craig Counsell left, they've still maintained success. So, yeah, that's what they're looking at. Good start by the Brew Crew. 17-11, we got the Cubbies of Chicago looking off to an awesome start. Only a half game back in that division. In third place, we got the Cincinnati Reds, 15-13, 2.5 games back. While they might not be that great this year, they're off to a good start. You watch, they're going to make noise later this season. I just know it, mark my words. Pirates are in fourth place, 4 games back at 14-15. Not very good, but not horrible. Considering how they started last year, feels bad, but we'll see as the season progresses. And then in fifth place, 4.5 games back, are the 13-15 Cardinals. So yeah, this division's really a dogfight. It is. It is. And it's going to be a dogfight throughout the season, that's for sure. It's going to be a fun one. Same with that AL Central. That's going to be fun to watch too. West Division now. We got the Dodgers, 18-12. Not as good as a lot of people expected them to be, but I think they'll gain stride later in the year for sure. Giants, 14-15, second place. Still not good, but they got work to do. Padres, 14-17, third place, 4.5 games back. By the way, the Giants are 3.5 back, so sorry about that one. Padres are 4.5 back at 14-17. Diamondbacks also 4.5 back at 13-16. And the Rockies, 7-21, 10 games back. Couple things here I just wanted to point out on this video. I'm just going to start to make some conclusions based on what I've seen so far, and you probably can see the same thing. I can say for certainty, I think the Braves, the Guardians, the Yankees, and the Phillies will all be factors this year. Like, they'll be very much in the playoff hunt, very much contending to make a deep World Series run, win divisions, and do amazing things. So, those are the 4 teams right now I could say for sure are pretty much in really good playoff shape and are going to be factors this year. The 3 teams that's going to be there's a couple teams I think it's going to be a really long year for. They're in for an atrocious year. The Marlins, the White Sox, and the Rockies. Don't expect much out of them this year. They just dug themselves in too deep of a hole, and I don't see them coming out of that hole anytime soon. So that's what I could say about that. All right, let's look at the week ahead now. Definitely not a bad week, that's for sure. A lot of winnable games this week, starting tomorrow night. The Pirates go to Oakland to take on the A's. Tomorrow, 9:40. Tuesday, 9:40, and Wednesday at 3:37. The A's may not be as bad as they were last year. However, this is still a very winnable series. I hope that we could take 2 out of 3 from Oakland. If we could do this, that would be amazing. So, hoping for 2 for 3. Friday night, the Pirates return home at 6:40 to host the Colorado Rockies. They'll play them again Saturday at 4:05 and Sunday at 1:35. Again, this is an atrocious team. We should win 2 out of 3, if not sweep them. I'm hoping for 4-2 this week. This is our opportunity against lesser, quote-unquote, lesser teams to bounce back. They better not pull the typical Pirates and give a good team like Atlanta or Philly a run for the money and lay it against Colorado. That's not how you do it. You have to beat these teams. I want to take 2 out of 3 from Oakland, and I want to take 2 out of 3 from Colorado. If we do that, we're in good shape. Because at that point, we'll be 14-15. If we win 4, that'll give us 18. We'll be 18-17. And that's a strong record. This is our opportunity to bounce back. Because after this, it gets a little bit tougher. Not so much in the short term, but I think it goes Angels, Cubs, Brewers, Cubs. And then coming up after that, we got the Giants and Braves at home. It'll only get tougher. Because once you get into June, you're going to start playing quality teams. And then if we're anywhere like well below 500 at July, this team will be a seller. And we can't have that. I listen to 93.7 The Fan a lot, and they say the goal most years is just as long as the Pirates can be relevant till training camp. And I understand that goal. It's a pretty decent goal, and it's reasonable because once you get to training camp, and I was talking today to some people at a softball game, and this is how I felt like. Once we get to training camp, it's all football for me. Just want to watch the Steelers, want to analyze the Steelers, want to talk about football. You guys know that this is primarily a football channel because we don't do a lot of content when football's not going on. You guys know this. So, that's a reasonable goal. However, at some point, the goal needs to be getting to the playoffs and winning World Series. Because as much as we love our Steelers, we need to realize right now that the NFC North is a dogfight and that it's loaded. So we have a choice here. The Pirates have a choice here. And that's to just make the moves every year, just keep playing, keep going for the motions so that we could stay relevant till training camp. And then once training camp comes, we implode because we know the Steelers are playing. Or we can look ourselves in the face and say, hey, look, we want to be 10 games above 500 comes the end of July when training camp starts. So we can be relevant in this town. We can be trade deadline buyers. And we could possibly be gearing up for playoff games at PNC Park. The return of blackouts. The return of October. Because that's what we need to be talking about right now. Yes, the Steelers have made some good moves this offseason, and there's going to be a lot of excitement for them the end of this summer and the end of Pirates season. And they did an amazing job with free agency, and they did an amazing job with the draft. No one is doubting that. However, it's important to realize they're still in a division with the Baltimore Ravens, who had the best record in football last year, and could have went to the Super Bowl and won it, so they have screwed up multiple occasions against the Chiefs. And we are also in a division with the Cincinnati Bengals, who will be getting back Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Bottom line is this. We can be as excited about the Steelers as we want to be. Because we feel they can be a factor in the AFC. And they can be. And I hope that everything pans out and they go to the Super Bowl and win it. However, when you put it in perspective and look at things from a realistic aspect, you realize that the AFC as a whole is a gauntlet. And that they have their work cut out for them if they want to get anywhere near the Super Bowl. The Pirates have the opportunity to capture this town and deliver them a serious playoff run. Because not saying that the Steelers can't do it, but if the Pirates stay relevant into September and October, which should be the goal, they can be something special. This town will pay attention to the Pirates. They should not have to worry about that. They need to go out there and do something so that they could stay relevant well past training camp. And so that we have a playoff run to talk about. Because when you look at this town right now, I mean, the Penguins aren't going to make a playoff run for a little while. They're in trouble with their situation. And the Steelers, they might win a playoff game, but do you really think they're going to be in the AFC Championship? Anything is possible, and I hope they are in the AFC Championship, and they have a roster that could make the AFC Championship. However, when you look at their roster compared to some of the other rosters, it's still a ways away. It's nowhere. They've made impressive strides, and they've done an amazing job, and I'm eager to see them. However, this is not a team that is being considered to be a contender for a Super Bowl. In fact, when you pull up these 2025 way too early mock drafts, and you see teams, and you see these people evaluating, like, who's going to get picked where based on how they project the team's going to be in 2024, the Steelers are projected to finish last in the AFC North. And granted, though, the media has done that every frickin' year for the past 5 or 6 years, and it's not worked out too well for them. Point being is, the Steelers right now, they're good, but I don't think they're, like, in the Super Bowl mix. If the Pirates continue to build and get better and not make stupid mistakes and win games so that they can stay relevant into September and make an October run, they can capture this town based on the way things are trending. And that's the message that Derek Shelton needs to preach to the team. So if you got nothing out of what I just said about the Pirates and the Steelers, take this. The Pirates need to be focused on staying relevant into September and October and making a playoff chase. Because if they do, they will capture this town like there's no more. You've seen Detroit with the Lions. That town had not won a playoff game in 32 years. When they won a playoff game, it was amazing. And you've seen how football has captured Detroit. Baseball can capture Pittsburgh. Don't listen to what people say. Because it can. And one day it will. But the team needs to start performing. And I hope they do. That's all I have for you guys. I'm sorry about that big long rant. We'll see you again next week. Have a good one. Take care. Stay safe. And as always, peace. See you next week. And let's go Bucs.